from Washington, this is VOA News. I'm Jonathan Jones reporting. President Trump continues his aggressive push to get Asian leaders to agree to pursue ending North Korea's missile and nuclear programs. He spoke Monday alongside Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe about the North Korea crisis.
The regime continued development of its unlawful weapons programs, including its illegal nuclear tests and outrageous launches of ballistic missiles directly over Japanese territory, are a threat to the civilized world and international peace and stability.
He spoke Monday in Japan. From Japan, Mr. Trump will go to South Korea, then China, Vietnam, and the Philippines. The gunman who killed 26 people at a Texas church on Sunday appeared to have been motivated by a domestic dispute with his in-laws and had sent threatening texts to his mother-in-law before launching the attack. Texas Public Safety spokesman Freeman Martin called it a senseless crime, but we can tell you there was a domestic situation going on within this family. He said Devin Kelly, a 26-year-old dishonorably discharged U.S. airman, opened fire on worshipers at a Baptist church during a Sunday morning service in Sutherland Springs, Texas.
The cause and manner of the death in this with the shooter will be determined by a pathologist during the autopsy. However, investigators found evidence at the scene that indicates the subject may have died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Police said Kelly called his father as he sped away from the church to say that he'd been shot, apparently by a neighbor who heard the mayhem as it unfolded and exchanged gunfire with Kelly. This is VOA News. Former U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry says the Iran nuclear agreement is working, and the decision by President Trump to decertify the agreement was made, quote, without any facts whatsoever and just pulled out of the sky. Kerry spoke to a group in London on Monday.
The Iran nuclear agreement is working. It is doing precisely what it was set up to do. I've heard some people, including the President of the United States, say there's a violation of the spirit of the deal. Well, as one of the principal negotiators of that agreement, let me just say to you, there was no spirit of the deal. There is no spirit of the deal. The deal is contained within the four corners of the agreement itself, period.
Monday marked 35 years since Cameroon's President Paul Biya took office. Moki Edwin Kinzika reports from Yaoundé.
Professor Elvis Ngolengole of the University of Yaoundé, an ally of Biya and a former government minister, says the president has stayed in power because he has positively impacted the lives of all Cameroonians. Biya became president on November 6, 1982, after the resignation of the Central African State's first leader, Amadou Ahidjo. He has won 5 elections since then, and in 2008, he revised the 1996 constitution to remove term limits. A CPDM supporter, 27-year-old Lucas Ndifoba, sees no one inside or outside the party willing to challenge the president.
No, he wants to remain in power. So we are there. The day he will say that he wants to step down, we will instead go on the street for him to remain. We have accepted him as our life president.
Not all Cameroonians feel that way, and parties like the main opposition SDF have been calling on Biya not to be candidate in next year's election. Moki Edwin Kinzika for VOA News, Yaoundé.
Saudi Arabia says its arch-rival Iran may have committed an act of war when Iranian-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen fired a missile at Riyadh. The Saudis intercepted the missile fired at King Khalid International Airport on Saturday. The Saudi-led coalition battling the Houthis says it has the right to respond to blatant military aggression by Iran. There's more on these and other late-breaking and developing stories from around the world, around the clock, at voanews.com and on the VOA News mobile app. I'm Jonathan Jones reporting from the world headquarters of the Voice of America in Washington.
That's the latest world news from VOA.